Tune in to Talking Law with Attorney Daryl O'Neill and a special guest host, Attorney Jerome Payne. Live TV talk on your digital device, on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Download the SVP TV app right now. Check us out every Tuesday on Comcast Cable, Channel 17, 8:30 p.m. And we are live every Friday on Facebook Live, 6 o'clock in the evening. You've got a question? Our attorneys have the answer. So let's talk law with Attorney Daryl O'Neill on the SVP TV network.
Good evening and welcome to Talking Law with Daryl O'Neill. Of course, I'm not Daryl O'Neill, but I got the next best thing, his daughter, Misty O'Neill. We got an exciting show on tonight. We always have a great time when Misty is here. But Misty, let me first do our welcoming to our audience, okay? We always want to make sure that you know that we're on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and you can download the SVP TV network on your phone. So also, Miss, we want to welcome all our viewers over in West Memphis, Arkansas, over in Mississippi, also Missouri, of course, and I think Daryl is traveling to Missouri now.
Yeah. Hey, Grandma. Hey, aunties.
And the other viewers that we have in Arkansas. Yeah. So tonight, we have a very exciting show because we have what we call a fresh look. That's what young people say, right? It's just fresh.
Fresh look.
Mister, I am so excited about you being here on tonight because we get a chance to see something from a younger practitioner's view. You know, recently, in fact, yesterday was the last day for early voting. And Missy, it seems like the people in your age, well, you're a millennial, okay.
Millennial.
It seems like the millennials are the group of people that we're having the most trouble with and trying to vote. Can you kind of help me understand why it's so difficult for the millennials to understand the importance of voting?
I think that, not to, speak on behalf of all millennials,
sure,
but I think that the general trend that I'm seeing in the millennial generation is just the struggle with all of these different world events that have happened, since our birth. So I'm probably in the older sector of millennials.
Okay.
Since our birth, we've lived through 2 economic crashes, like 9/11, you got Hurricane Katrina, you had all kinds of stuff. Now you had a pandemic. These are just once in a lifetime events that have happened literally every decade.
That's a very good observation. Because Darren and I talked about that last week, about the importance of having different viewpoints so you can see things from a different version. I never would have thought about that, but you are absolutely right.
Yeah.
You guys are in the middle of a war where you see another country just literally invade another country and
crazy.
Start to bomb
Another country.
Men, women, children, just indiscriminately. So you're absolutely right. But you guys also grew up under a black president.
First black
Misty,
president.
I'm telling you, that is something that people of my generation never, ever thought we would see.
Yeah.
So how does that, particularly too, since he is a lawyer,
yeah,
and his wife happens to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
How inspirational is that for you and your group of millennials?
I know for me personally, and for some of my colleagues, I have a couple of black female attorney colleagues and black male colleagues. It's very inspirational. I particularly loved Michelle Obama's book, Becoming. It was a bit of a difficult read because she's very intelligent and she used big words, and I felt real stupid. But she made some very, very great points in her book. Just the different tidbits just based off of her own life, and it was a very, very good read as far as just the wisdom that you gleaned from her in her books. And Barack Obama as a writer as well, he's a very eloquent writer. Just like how he speaks, he writes really well. But he's a very easy read.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean that's very inspirational. I think that looking up to them, and our recent Supreme Court Justice,
I was about to
Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Yeah, I was about
that. I mean, I'm not them, but I see myself in them to a point, to an extent.
You took away my thunder because I really wanted to go there, but that's okay. But look, let's see also too. Could you kind of identify with some of the things that Michelle had said about how her ability was questioned, about maybe her aspirations were too high? In fact, we saw the very same thing Ketanji Brown Jackson has said too. Do you happen to see any of that when you were made your mind up that but you always probably knew you were going to be a lawyer from day one, didn't you?
Not really. Not really, but I think, yeah, so I definitely experienced that, in undergrad and in law school, growing up here in Memphis, growing up in Whitehaven, definitely experienced some of that, not just from, white people, but from your own people.
Right.
Or you think you're better than me, or, you're an Oreo, or whatever, things like that. And in reality, it's like, no, my parents were just very stringent about my education and my brother's education. And, they had an active hand in our education.
And you think that's what made the difference? Are you public school?
I was public school, yeah.
So, and also I'm a public school graduate as well. I graduated from Southside. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Overton for 3 years, and then I graduated from Central.
Okay. Okay. So you can get a very good, valid education in the public schools.
You just can't depend solely on the public school. I mean, yeah, according to the law, the public school is in loco parentis when you're at school. They're in the place of the parent when you're at school. But you're going to require supplementation from the parents.
No question about that. No question about that. But when you have both of your parents were college graduates, is that right?
Yeah.
Or higher.
Or higher.
Okay.
Yeah. They went to rival colleges, which is so funny.
Is that right?
Yeah. My dad went to Hampton University, and my mom went to Norfolk State.
Okay.
Rival veins.
Great.
Yeah.
So what do you tell the young people who, somewhere in the back of their minds, they believe that they would like to become lawyers? Is it outreach, or is that something that they can aspire to?
I think it's absolutely something that they can aspire to. I think that's what's overwhelming is, how do I get there?
Oh, yeah.
What's all my steps?
That's good.
I've had people ask me, oh, do you have to go and get a master's? No, I went and got my master's because it's something I love to do. That was something that I liked, but it's not required.
That's right.
But college, you just have to understand what's expected of you on a collegiate level, and then what's expected of you at a professional school like law school, or even being a dentist, or even going to pharmacy school or veterinarian school or medical school. What you just have to understand the caliber of what's expected of you at these different institutions.
And I think you're absolutely right. I think it's not necessarily academics that will get you there, but the fact that you can follow the rules.
Right.
And in fact, there was a book one time about everything I learned it in kindergarten. Because, that's a good example of, they would just want to know that you can follow the rules and that you can put one step in front of the other.
Absolutely.
In fact, that's how you get the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the single step.
Yep.
And so, law school is within your reach, young people. Medical school is within your reach. Any school. And I am so dismayed when I happen to go to the hospital or something, and I see all of the doctors are usually foreigners, really.
Foreign, yeah. Or older white male.
Yeah. So what's happening to our students? Why do we not see more African Americans doing these kinds of things?
I think that, like, going back to the public education supplement, if it really disproportionately affects us. The fact, say for instance, you look at single parent homes, or you look at the fact that the parent is always working. Who's there to check your homework?
True.
Who's there to read through your book reports? True. Who's there to, like my father, he used to go to our school and talk to the teacher before we ever got assigned to summer reading. And, he would be like, do you have summer reading this summer? He would just ask you to see if you were going to tell the truth. And, the first time he ever asked it, I was like, no. He was like, and then he just dropped all my summer reading books on the bed. And I was one of 2 kids that did the summer reading.
Right.
But from some of the summer reading programs or summer reading assignments or summer assignments, there were some things that I really came to enjoy. Like, one of my favorite books is Fahrenheit 451. That's Ray Bradbury.
Okay.
And I read that in 10th grade, summer reading. And so I would be one of 2 kids engaging with the teacher about the summer reading.
Very good.
Yeah, everybody else's parent was doing whatever.
Misty, that's exactly where I was headed. Mm-hmm. The summer period is not a period for you to lay around and lollygag and do some. That's a real important time where you can kind of get a grip on a lot of different things.
Yep.
Now, one thing for sure, being a lawyer requires a lot of intense reading.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm a believer that if you can read, you can just about do anything.
Yeah.
And then you read with comprehension.
Yeah.
Because that's where you and I mostly have to do.
Yes.
I remember when I was in law school, you always, wherever you happen to stop, there was always a book open. Right?
Right.
I mean, you have a book all around you.
All around.
Sometimes, sitting in the bed, but sometimes the bed is not a good place because it'll make you sleepy. But wherever you are, there is an open book somewhere.
Right.
So I would suggest that you learn to love reading. Learn to take an adventure in your mind. Learn to appreciate things that are outside of your community. A lot of our people don't necessarily have a lot of experience with an environment different from the one they grew up in.
Absolutely.
But there are ways to get out into another environment, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. Like an environment I've never been to is space, right?
Right, exactly.
Like, I love looking at the International Space Station feed. It's 24 hours a day, and it goes black for like an hour every day. Because it's on the dark side of the Earth, where like the sun's not up on that side. Yeah, so like right now over in on the continent of Africa, it's the next day. And it's about to be, or it's into the next day in China. Like, I like to look at the feed because I'm looking at, first of all, the International Space Station is always in a different spot.
Oh, okay.
Right, because it's moving at 17,500 miles an hour. It's moving, and then you're seeing this beautiful big blue ball. And you can't see the whole thing because the International Space Station is literally like a dot on this table.
Okay.
But you can see it moving around. You can just see just how vast our beautiful Earth is.
Wow.
And you can see, like, I can see, I haven't been to this place. I haven't been to this place. Or you can't see anything because there's a bunch of clouds and storms going on there or this and that. But also, if you haven't been somewhere, like I like to look at videos on YouTube of places I haven't been. I want to plan to go there. Or I want to be there. And I think for me, one of the most eye-opening experiences was when I was 17. I got to go to Germany with the Memphis Youth Symphony. Germany and Prague in the Czech Republic. Wow. And it really opened my eyes to there's a world that's greater than just Memphis.
Wow.
People there could have conversations with us in English, and I can't have a conversation with them in German. You know, they're talking to me, and I can't talk to them in their native language, but they can talk to me in my native language, you know, absent the slang.
And you know, and that's the thing where we always hear about America being the greatest country in the world. America is this and that, but you're absolutely right. Other countries recognize that it's a value to speaking English, but also it's a value to be able to speak other different languages. That's wonderful, Misty. Also, too, young people, try and find a mentor. You'll be surprised at the number of professionals who would absolutely adore, would be absolutely wonderful, would take up time to at least, spend some time with you to help cultivate. To just help that little spark that happens to be there to turn into a glowing furnace. So don't ever feel like there's anything out of reach. Right. In fact, we've been everywhere now. There's nothing.
Everything is within reach.
That we've not been able to at least have one person, and you know what?
Even NASCAR.
In 2022, we should never ever have to say the first again. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because there are too many people who are able to, but opportunity knocks.
Right.
But you gotta be able to open the door when it comes.
Yeah.
So whatever preparations you are doing, just because you haven't been able to make that advance now, does not mean that tomorrow won't be the day that you get the call.
And I think that also going back to the question about millennials and their kind of just retreat into this shell, right? I think that a part of it too is some of the advice that was received. The time has changed, so yes, there's always opportunity, but the manner in which these opportunities present themselves. Like I have a couple of millennials I know that are entrepreneurs, but that necessity is the mother of invention.
Absolutely.
And so, I got fired from my job, and I just happened to make these pork rinds.
Probably the best thing. That's the best thing that ever happened to you.
But also, it shouldn't be something that happens overnight.
That's
right. At 23 years old, Oprah Winfrey was fired from her network.
Right.
Vera Wang didn't design her first gown until 40.
Wow.
So it's certain things just take time. You got to be in the right headspace, and then it's also luck and opportunity. And one of my favorite quotes from Elon Musk is, "If I could have any superpower, the superpower I want is luck."
Wow.
Luck and opportunity, you can make anything happen.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
The new owner of what?
Twitter. The soon-to-be new owner of Twitter.
$44 billion.
And he's almost 50. And it took him 20 years to build SpaceX. He built PayPal with a partner, when they were young. He just likes to tinker in things. He builds things.
My goodness.
And so you take PayPal and you sell PayPal to Microsoft, you make $200 million a piece. Right, because they bought PayPal for $400 million. You take $200 billion, you take $100 billion and invest in SpaceX, and $100 million, $100 million and invested in SpaceX, and $100 million and invested in Tesla. And now you're a multi-billionaire, almost trillionaire. You're worth I think his net worth is like $464 billion. Something crazy.
Misty, thank you for that education, because I did not know that. But I did know that for as long as there's been a space program, the space program would send up a rocket ship, and it would destroy on the way we entering the Earth's atmosphere. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
And so Elon Musk comes along and he creates a carrier, a space carrier, that will actually launch the satellite into the air and then turn around and come back and land.
Reusable rocket. Yep. Your landing stuff thing that's the size of a skyscraper, weighs 30, 40 tons. Right. And you're landing, and then they do this precision landing thing where it just lands perfectly every single time. But it took 10 years to develop it.
Right. Right. So the sky is the limit. So young people,
absolutely,
and we have young people who have minds like that too as well. But I just don't think that the exposure has been there enough. Parents allow your children to explore their environment. Now, at one time, an African American child could not do that. It could be dangerous in some areas to allow that too. Because when I was growing up, our parents always had to keep us pretty much in tow because you never knew with the environment that we were coming up in. And we've seen some instances of that too now, where an African American child gets into some kind of struggle, and they always are the ones who receive the harshest treatment. For instance, in that mall where the white guy and the black guy were involved in some kind of altercation. But when the officers arrived, they immediately pounced
on the black
guy. So much so until the other guy said, "Wow, what's going on?" I was just as aggressive as he was. But children should be able to explore their environment some. I mean, sometimes they touch things they shouldn't touch. But that could be a little genius thing, that something has captivated their little minds. So kind of give them a little leeway. And I have to tell my wife sometimes when we got grandkids, don't necessarily snatch them away on everything that they're exploring. Their little minds are busy. And I don't like telling children to shut up because inquisitiveness, that's how you get answers to questions. You ask the question, then you can get an answer to it. So, and tonight we're just spending this time because I always enjoy when Misty is here because we get a chance to look at another side. Let's move to the legal profession.
All right.
So how many years you been practicing now?
Well, it'll be my 4th year. It'll be going on my 4th year, June 3rd of this year.
That is wonderful. So you took the you took the July bar exam?
I took the February 2018.
Okay.
No, 2019 bar exam.
What was it like waiting on your results, Misty?
It was hard. So, like, the first couple of weeks, I was very confident that I had passed. Maybe, but by the time 2 to 3 weeks before the exam results was supposed to come out, it was like, I don't know. I was like, I know I did what I need to do on this part, but this part is what gets everybody, and I don't know.
The writing part of
it's the multiple choice. I mean, you can't fluff your way through that multiple. You either know it or you don't. It's like, I don't know if I did okay. I just hope I scored high enough to make it, and
With your writing, you were pretty confident in your writing.
Yeah, I've always been a really good writer.
Okay.
So you can kind of, if you don't know the answer to something, when you learn, law school, it doesn't teach you how to be a lawyer. It teaches you how to think like a lawyer. And part of thinking like a lawyer is using logic and reasoning.
Right.
And, so those logic games that you do when you're studying for the LSAT, if Jim and Susie are in this room and Karen's never in the room with Jim and Susie, but when were Jim, Karen, and Susie in the room together? It's like, what?
Right.
Okay, well, they may have been in this room, but they weren't in the room together.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, these kinds of games, you can kind of reason your way through something that you don't know.
Absolutely.
In an essay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Darren and I often talk about, well, I started to say something that may or not, but you correct me if I say something.
All right.
It's not entirely. I was about to say, In law school, there is no wrong answer.
That's true.
In law school.
That's true.
Because I started to say in the legal profession, but in the legal
Sometimes.
there is a
Every now and again, there's a wrong answer.
but in law school, there is no wrong answer.
That's right.
The question becomes, can you defend the answer that you put out there?
And the bar exam is kind of like that too.
Yeah.
Now, the difference between law school and the bar exam. So law school, I can say, well, it could be this, it could be
That's right.
this, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this, and you get points for all of
That's
that.
exactly right.
If you put that on the bar exam, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
Because the purpose of a lawyer is an assassin.
Right.
You have to pick a theory and
that's-
pull a trigger.
That's your dad's word.
He's so right. Because I'll be like, oh, well, you can, like he says, you can give the law, you can give this statute, say for instance, to 5 different lawyers.
That's right.
And then you're going to get 5 different interpretations. Some of them may be similar, some of them may be way over here. You didn't even think about this.
Right.
I've gotten back decisions from courts of appeals where they made an argument in my favor that I didn't even think of.
Right.
I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about that. But that's a great argument.
So, Mister, you've had things go to the Court of Appeals? Is that right?
I had my very first case come back from the Court of Appeals, and it was affirmed. We won.
You're going to have to give me the site so I can read it.
I got you.
Oh, man, that's wonderful.
And I had the one like tear, like Denzel Washington in Glory. I was like, oh my gosh! And my name was one of the attorneys.
That is wonderful. Ow,
awesome.
wow.
It was really
So
awesome.
forever and ever and ever,
It's
there
right
is
It's right there.
and other lawyers will follow the precedent that you set.
Yeah.
Because you must have got a negative ruling below.
Well, it was a negative ruling in the administrative level.
Okay.
And then in the trial court level, they reversed the agency. And then the Court of Appeals, the agency appealed to the Court of Appeals, which is their right.
Right.
And the Court of Appeals affirmed the trial court.
That's wonderful,
Yeah.
Misty. I am so excited for you. But also, we were talking about there not being any right or wrong answers in law school, but it depends on how you issue spotting. It's very, very important because even if for somehow or another you're not able to articulate what it is that you're trying to articulate, you can at least point out that at least I spotted the issues. And so that's probably the first thing you would do before you began to write answer to a question is to make sure you get all the issues
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then sometimes your prompt is so broad. They're like, man, it could be a whole bunch of stuff here.
That's right.
But it's literally like a Super Mario coin collection of, ability to collect all these different coins in this prompt. You got a prompt that's like a page long, and you're reading through all these facts. Oh, that's this, and oh, that's this, oh, that's this, oh, this could be this, oh, this is. You're getting points for all of that.
That's exactly
Even
right.
if you don't get to analyze all of it,
That's
you're
exactly
getting points
right.
for all of it.
And in fact, that's really what we do as lawyers.
Absolutely.
When you come to the lawyer, you really don't know what it is that you have.
Absolutely. It's like a law school exam.
Right.
Every time you sit down with the client, it's a law school exam.
That's exactly right. Because but the client knows they know I've been aggrieved.
Something's happened that I don't like. Something is happening that's going wrong.
That's right.
Help me.
That's right. I feel, I don't know, but I feel as if something has gone wrong. And so I'm here telling you my story for you to help me sort out these feelings that I have, I haven't been able to sleep since this happened.
Right.
Like on the job, particularly because you do like sexual harassments and kind of thing, don't you?
Gender discrimination, all discrimination, hostile work environment, stuff like that.
Right. So I know something because I don't feel. I feel like I was slighted.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how we are able to determine whether or not there's something there.
Yeah. That's absolutely right.
So, Miss, I'm going to give you the last few minutes because I've absolutely, positively enjoyed this experience on tonight. So I'm going to give you the last minute or so to wrap up. Tell us a little about whatever you want to discuss.
Oh, well, I mean, there's always something that if you want to do something, there's always a way to do it. I mean, there's always multiple ways to do it. So if somebody tells you, you know, somebody told Malcolm X that he couldn't be a lawyer because he's black, or Michelle Obama, who's from South Side of Chicago.
Right.
You know, she was allowed to go to a gifted school because the people came and talked to her parents and said, hey, she's gifted.
Right.
Take her to this special school. If, you know, there's something that you want to do, there's always a way to figure out to do it. You just got to figure out the way to do it.
That's right.
And it's one step at a time. It's one thing at a time. And it's not about working hard. It's about working smart.
That's exactly right. And if you still are not quite sure, call us.
Reach out.
So thank you for watching on the show tonight. We're going to miss Daryl. He should be back very soon, but we absolutely had a good show anyway.
Absolutely.
See you later, Miss D. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
We're gonna make you fall in love with SVPGD.